Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tasya naya bhagavata parikarma suddha Sattvatmanastad anusamsmaranupurtya Jnanam viraktimad abhunisitena yena Chicheda samsaya padam nija jiva kosam Tasya naya bhagavata parikarma suddha Sattvatmanastadanu samsmaranupurtya Jnanam viraktimad abhunisitena yena Chicheda samsaya padam nija jiva kosam Tasya naya bhagavata parikarma suddha Sattvatmanastadanu samsmaranupurtya Jnanam viraktimad abhunisitena yena Chicheda samsaya padam nija jiva kosam. Tasya naya bhagavata parikarma suddha Sattvatmanastad anusamsmaranupurtya Jnanam viraktimad abhunisitena yena Chicheda samsaya padanija jiva kosam Tasya naya bhagavata parikarma suddha Sattvatmanastad anusamsmaranupurtya Jnanam viraktimad abhunisitena yena Chicheda samsaya padam nija jiva kosam Tasya naya bhagavata parikarma suddha Sattvatmanastad anusamsmaranupurtya Jnanam viraktimad abhunisitena yena Chicheda samsaya padam nija jiva kosam. Word to word translation, repeat after me. Tasya, his, anaya, by this, Bhagavata, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parikarma, activities in devotional service, Suddha, pure transcendental, Sattva, existence, Atmana, of the mind, Tat, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Anusamsmarana, constantly remembering, Anupurtya, being perfectly done, Jnanam, knowledge, Virakti, non-attachment, Mat, possessing, Abhut, became manifested, Nishitena, by sharpened activities. Ena, by which Chicheda becomes separated. Samsaya Padam, position of doubtfulness. Nija, own. Jiva Kosam, entanglement of the living entity. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Asi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki translation. By regularly discharging devotional service, Pṛthu Mahārāja became transcendental in mind and could therefore constantly think of the lotus feet of the Lord. Because of this, he became completely detached and attained perfect knowledge by which he could transcend all doubt. Thus, he was freed from the clutches of false ego and the material concept of life. Purport. Please, it's a very long purport, so stay with me. In the Narada Pancharatra, devotional service to the Lord is likened unto a queen. When a queen gives an audience, many maidservants follow her. The maidservants of devotional service are material opulence, liberation, and mystic powers. The karmis are very much attached to material enjoyment. The jnanis are very anxious to become freed from material clutches, and the yogis are very fond of attaining the 8 kinds of mystic perfection. From the Narada Pancharatra, you understand that if one attains the stage of pure devotional service, he also attains all the opulences derived from the fruitive activities, empiric philosophical speculation, and mystic yogic practice. Srila Bilvamangal Thakur therefore prayed in his Krishna Karnamrita, "My dear Lord, if I have unflinching devotion to you, you become manifested before me personally, and the result of fruitive activities and the empiric philosophical speculation, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, become like personal attendant and remain standing before me as if waiting my order." The idea here is that the jnanis, by culture of Brahma Vidya, spiritual knowledge, struggle very hard to get out of the clutches of material nature. But a devotee, by dint of his advancement in devotional service, automatically became detached from his material body. When the devotee's spiritual body begins to manifest, he actually enters into his activities in transcendental life. At present, we have contacted a material body, material mind, and material intelligence. But when we become free from these material conditions, our spiritual body, spiritual mind, and spiritual intelligence become manifest. In that transcendental stage, a devotee attains all the benefits of karma, jnana, and yoga. Although he never engages in fruitive activities or empiric speculations to attain mystic powers, automatically mystic powers appear in his service. A devotee does not want any kind of material opulence, but such opulence appears before him automatically. He does not have to endeavor for it. Because of his devotional service, he automatically becomes Brahma Bhuta. As stated before, this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Mam chayo babicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati yaitan Brahma Bhuyaya kalpate. One who is engaged in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the mode of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahma. Because of his regular discharge of devotional service, a devotee attains the transcendental stage of life. Since his mind is transcendentally situated, he cannot think of anything but the lotus feet of the Lord. This is the meaning of the word samsmarananu anupurtya. By constantly thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord, the devotee immediately becomes situated in Suddha Sattva. Suddha Sattva refers to that platform which is above the mode of material nature, including the mode of goodness. In the material world, the mode of goodness is considered to be representative of the highest perfection, but one has to transcend this mode and come to the stage of Suddha Sattva or pure goodness, where the 3 qualities of material nature cannot act. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the following example. If one has strong digestive power, after eating he automatically lights a fire within his stomach to digest everything and does not need to take medicine to aid his digestion. Similarly, the fire of devotional service is so strong that a devotee does not need to act separately to attain perfect knowledge or detachment from material attraction. A jnani may become detached from material attraction by prolonged discussion on subjects of knowledge and may in this way finally come to the Brahma Bhuta stage. But a devotee does not have to undergo so much trouble. By virtue of his devotional service, he attains the Brahmabhuta stage. Without a doubt, the yogis and gyanis are always doubtful about their continuous constitutional position. Therefore, they mistakenly think of becoming one with the Supreme. However, a devotee's relationship with the Supreme becomes manifest beyond all doubts and he immediately understands that his position is that of eternal servant of the Lord. Gyanis and yogis without devotion may think themselves liberated, but actually their intelligence is not as pure as that of devotee. In other words, the Gyanis and yogis cannot become factually liberated unless they become elevated to the position of devotees. Aruya Srena param padam tata patanti adho nadrita yusmad angraya. Bhagavatam 10.2.32. The Gyanis and Yogis may rise to the highest position, Brahman realization, but because of their lack of devotion unto the lotus feet of the Lord, they again fall down into material nature. Therefore, Jnana and Yogas will not be accepted as the real process for liberation. By discharging devotional service, Pṛthu Mahārāja automatically transcended all these positions. Since Maharaj Pṛthu was a Saktavesa incarnation of the Supreme Lord, he did not have to act in the way to attain liberation. He came from the Vaikuntha world or spiritual sky in order to execute the will of Supreme Lord on earth. Consequently, he was to return home back to Godhead without having to execute Jnana, Yoga or Karma. Although Pṛthu Mahārāja was eternally a pure devotee of the Lord, he nonetheless adopted the process of devotional service in order to teach the people in general the proper process of executing the duties of life and ultimately returning home back to Godhead. It was a very long puppet. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurulam Tam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum rangayatim girivyat kripatahamam bande Shri Gurutina Tarinam Parvananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Iswaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Once again, welcome to our morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. So we are talking about chapter 4, text 11, canto 4, text 23, chapter 11. Pṛthu Mahārāja going back home, back to Godhead. So it's it was a very long puppet, but as you can see, this one particular puppet is like enough. Like Prabhupada has put so much like details in here. Just this one puppet is enough. If you clearly understand and follow this just one purport, this one purport is enough for us to go back home, back to Godhead. It's a very nice purport. Well, Prabhupada talks about like all like Gyanis, Yogis, Karmis, and finally above most all like devotees. So Prabhupada there like writes what does Gyani do, what does Karmi do, and what's the devotional service. So here Pṛthu Mahārāja is a Saktavesa avatar. And Pṛthu Mahārāja had 5 sons. So after he thought like he was getting, okay, I'm getting old, I have ruled earth for enough years. He divided the kingdom, he let his sons take the charge and he just went to the forest. Although he is like empowered by Supreme Lord, but he to teach the people in general, like he still performed the devotional service and he went back home, back to Godhead. So here like Prabhupada has given us in a purport about, he said, Bilva Mangal Thakur. So how many of us know the story of Bilva Mangal Thakur? So do you know about his past life? So today I'm going to talk about the Bilva Mangal Thakur's past life. So in his past life, Bilva Mangal Thakur was like a bit poor. So yeah, he was a poor guy, but he used to be in association of some like, I don't know if, I'm not particularly sure if Brahmanas or like a Vaishnavas, but he used to like with the sadhus. So he used to, his favorite thing was to invite sadhus and like give them, like arrange a feast for them. So sadhu bhojan was his favorite thing, but he was so poor that he couldn't even manage to do that, although he has that intense desire. And once he heard like the king's daughter has died, and the king became so much lamenting that he has like all his possessions, gold, silver, money, jewelry, the king has buried in some place, because he's like, I don't need anything because my daughter has died. And then Bilva Mangal Thakur heard that, and he went to the people there. He particularly waited for people to bury all those kind of thing, and he just waited to be part of it. And finally, when everyone's leaving, he took all his possessions. He took like all those gold, silvers, and everything, and he came back. But he didn't use even a single penny for himself. He didn't buy. He didn't buy a big house, like he didn't buy lots of lands, like lots of maid servants. No, he just simply used that money for the for inviting sadhus in his house and arranging feast for them. But here, even like Pṛthu Mahārāja is giving example, and Bilva Mangal Thakur case also, the material possession is not gonna last long. So even he had that like he had tons of golds and silvers and valuable jewelry and ornaments. One day he ran out of that. So again he came back to, although he didn't use for himself, he used for the sadhus, but he still, everything, the money, the material possession, they are supposed to be finished one day. So when that thing happened, he again remembered, oh, the king buried the possessions of himself in a place. His daughter also might have won lots of jewelry and ornaments when she was being buried. So he again went to her like where she was buried. He went to there and again took out the gold and silver that was won by her. And then he again didn't even use it for like a single for himself. Like he invited sadhus and his home, just like that. And like after that, some time after, he left his body. And what happened? Then the Vaikuntha plane came. No, he has to come back again to material world as a Bilva Mangal Thakur this time. So Bilva Mangal Thakur this time, he was born in a rich Brahmana family. He has like wife, children. But the thing is, he got like attached to a Chintamani, a prostitute. And he was so attached, like he didn't used to care about wife, his children, his possessions. So he himself has like told like this story, I think most of us have heard, like Bilva Mangal Thakur. Like there was a big flood and Bilva Mangal Thakur was like so anxious to meet Chintamani that he didn't care about the wind, like the storm and flood, that he crossed the river, like and the like dead bodies were floating on the river, and he still like jumped on the top of the dead body, not caring. And he was like, he took the help of the rope, but it was a snake actually. So because he was that much attached to sense gratification, that he simply like just in that his life threatening situation, he didn't care about, was just for enjoying his senses, just to enjoy Chintamani. He was that much attached to her. And then finally he went to her house, he knocked, she didn't open because like raining storm. He anyhow somehow managed to get inside the home. And Chintamani was shocked to see him, like it's like this dangerous situation outside and he's still like doing all these things just to enjoy, just for the sense gratification. And she instructed him, like if only like tiny bit of attachment you have for me, if tiny bit of that you had for Krishna, if tiny bit of that attachment you have for Krishna, then you would have been liberated by now. So hearing her word, he became so much like ashamed of himself that without even wasting his time, he simply said, after Chintamani instructed him, he simply said, okay, I'm going to Vrindavan. So what happened? He attended pure devotional service? No. Because what is like Sanatana Goswami had said, like just going to Vrindavan is not alone enough to attend the pure devotional service, a love for the Krishna. Because the person who was instructing him pure Krishna Prem was there, Chintamani. But he went for Vrindavan. So that's one of the things like most of our devotees also do, leaving the association of the congregation here, or like leaving association of their yatra and like, oh, I'll go and settle in Vrindavan. So that's not solely enough to attend Krishna Prem. Even Bilva Mangal Thakur didn't even just going by the didn't attend Krishna Prem. He had to struggle a lot. He had to struggle with his senses. He used to see Chintamani like another woman as well. Like, oh, Chintamani, like that. Even one day, a rich merchant wife came to his husband and said, this guy seems to looking at me like inappropriately, like he has desire to enjoy me. And that businessman was like at that time, people were such an exalted person. They simply said, okay, you dress nicely and go and satisfy that person. He looks like a sadhu. And then when she, following her husband's order, the wife simply dressed properly, took a bath, dressed properly, and went to satisfy Bilva Mangal Thakur. But the Bilva Mangal Thakur, after coming to his senses, he became so much ashamed of that. He simply asked her the pin in the hair, the long pin they have put like in the hair. Simply asked like, can you give me that one? And he simply plucked his both eyes. Because he couldn't control his eyes to even he used to seeing the beautiful girls and all that kind, because he had so much attached to that thing earlier. And then now he is like blind. How can he go to Vrindavan? So how can he stay in there? But when he was finally, this is the point that you don't need eyes to see Krishna. You can see Krishna within your heart. So Bilva Mangal Thakur attained pure devotional service without even seeing the Krishna, without even seeing what Vrindavan looks like. Because he has in that heart. And when he was roaming here and there, one person came and offered him a help, and it's just it's Krishna himself that was offering him help. But he couldn't see it. But in his heart he knew that pure devotional service. The same Bilva Mangal Thakur, who was that much attached to Chintamani, later became the devotee of Krishna. And his book Krishna Kadamrita, even Mahaprabhu himself has personally recommended to read that book. That Mahaprabhu that was one of his favorite book. That's so much. In that Krishna Karnamrita, Bilva Mangal Thakur says, I'll just mention a few points. Bhakti stvai sthit ratara bhagava vanyadi swayat. It means if we have got fixed up devotion unto you, my Lord Bhagwan, then daivena falati dibya kishwara murti. Then very easily we can see your form. Dibya kishwara murti, your divine form. Like a kishwara murti means like a very young Radha Krishna Prana Mora Yugala Kishwara. So similarly, Krishna is always in his eternal youth form. He is always Kishwara. So he says if you have got fixed up your devotion on, then you can see eternal form of the Lord. Bilva Mangal Thakur didn't need material eyes, because when Krishna was personally present in this earth, Duryodhana had that eyes to see him, Shishupala had that eyes to see him, Dantavakra had that eyes to see him, many other demons had that eyes to see him, but didn't even recognize him because they were looking with the material eyes. So with the material eyes, to the non-devotee, the materialist people, the Vigraha in the temple just looks like a stone standing in there doing nothing. But the devotee of Krishna, that's personally Krishna himself present in the form of a Vigraha. So that's a very interesting story of Bilva Mangal Thakur. So it's so with all the story, with the case of Pṛthu Mahārāja, we can relate Pṛthu Mahārāja gave up everything. He was the king of entire universe. He was the king of entire universe. But still he gave up that. He had a beautiful wife, children, family. He gave up that. He gave up his material opulence. Even the material opulence, we can know the story of Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was like a minister of a Nawab. And he was so much rich, but he still desired to leave the ministry and go to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, go to serve him in his mission to spread Harinam. And then when he requested the Nawab to leave, he became so much angry with Sanatana Goswami that he imprisoned him. And when Sanatana Goswami got the letter on, he got the letter from Rupa Goswami that he met Mahaprabhu in Vrindavan. And then Sanatana Goswami, he got a gold coins from Rupa Goswami, certain amount of gold coins. And the guard who was, everybody heard of the story, the guard who was guarding the cell, then he started giving him the gold coins, showing him that he say oh brother, you take this much gold, everything, and you please leave me. And the guard first was no, the Nawab is gonna kill me, I cannot leave you, But he was a materialistic man, so he is like, his heart is like greedy. So after seeing gold coins, like Sanatana Goswami like kept adding, like you take more, like more, take this much, like to how like we are so much attached to money. So that people, he was a meat eater and all this materialistic person. So he was so much attached to money that even he knew, like if Nawab find out anything about him letting Sanatana Goswami live, he's gonna get killed. But just for the just there is a greed in his heart, so that he is the master of all those gold coins. He owned those gold coins. He simply let Sanatana Goswami live. He simply called his shackle and let him live. But he was first, like Sanatana Goswami also played a trick. So he was a very clever man. He said, you tell him, Nabab, that I went to Ganges, and then I went to Ganges, I was with him. Then he went to bath in the Ganges or something in Ganges, and he jumped in there. And because he was shackled with the chain, his body didn't float, and he drowned and died. He couldn't swim, and he drowned and died. And I'm not gonna stay in this country. I'm gonna leave this country, so the king will not find about it. You tell him I have jumped in the Ganges and committed suicide, and then king's not gonna find it. You can still enjoy the material position, everything. I'm giving the gold coins to you, and then like finally agreed, and he caught up the shackles. So instead of like risking his life, if somebody sees it, somebody tells Nawab, still he was so much greedy for those gold coins that he allowed Sanatana Goswami to live. How will he enjoy those gold coins if the Nawab would have found him and killed him? Simply gone. But that's material life. We are so much greedy over the money. We think this money belongs to me. After coming to Australia, when I was in Nepal, at least money had that physical form. Like, at least you keep thinking. Here is simply a digit in a bank. Like the people sitting in the bank, they just type in their keyboard my account name, put 500 like that. Just from their computer, they just simply, and my app, it shows 500. That's just a point, like a point, game point. It exists like digitally, exist in a computer only. And I transfer that point to your account. And you think, oh, I have this much money, simply, and you transfer, go and tap in there. It's simply like sitting down in a computer. Now it's like money is like that. Simply like a bank can write $50,000 in your account, and your account will start showing $50,000. Simply this is like, and we are running after that thing, like we are working hard like a donkey every day, just to enjoy that. And Sanatana Goswami, he gave up that. Sanatana Goswami was a minister. What need for was him if he wanted to enjoy everything material? What need was there for him to give up everything? To give up gold coins. He could have simply said, oh, Nawab, I'm sorry. I'll become your minister. I'll enjoy the material opulences. Give me this much golds and monies. And Nawab would have easily given him to satisfy him. No. He didn't wanted it because he is a pure devotee of Krishna. Pure devotee, here Prabhupada says in purport, pure devotee never ever want for any material positions or any sense gratifications. Because in their heart, the only thing they want to serve is serve Krishna. So, and after that he left. After that he walked like 2 days, and then he went to that hilly area, and he was so much like tired, and he went to one merchant house, and he told him, okay, can you please help me to cross these hills, this and that. And then there was one astrologer at that time in that merchant house, and the astrologer told that Sanatana Goswami has 8 gold coins. 8 gold coins. And then after hearing that merchant becomes so much favorable to Sanatana Goswami. He said, oh, you take bath in Ganges, go and cook food for yourself, eat, take prasad, and then I'll help you cross the hills. Sanatana Goswami was a very clever man. So he went to Ganges, take a bath, and then come back, cooked a food, offered it to Krishna, took a prasadam, and then he was figuring out why this merchant is suddenly so kind to me. And he asked his servant, Sanatana Goswami's servant, that what is something that you have? And he said, like, I have got a gold coins. And Sanatana Goswami became very angry, like, why do you have these gold coins? You are so much attached to this money. You immediately give it to me. And he took it and then went to that rich merchant and tell him, I have this much gold coins. I don't have use for it. The gold coins, not like a normal coins. Here we have $1 coins, the golden coins, the completely made of gold. I don't have any use for it. You take it. Sanatana Goswami gave it to him. And he said, oh, you are saved by God, because I was going to kill you for those gold coins tonight, midnight when you are sleeping. But you gave it to me. You are such a nice person. I don't need these gold coins. I'll just simply help you cross the hill. And after that, he crossed the hill, and then he bid farewell. Sanatana Goswami even bid farewell to his own servant as well. He said, how many coins you have at last? He said, like, I have 1 gold coins. And he said, like, okay, I'm leaving. You go your way, I'll leave. After that, Sanatana Goswami reached one place, forgot the place name, but it was the place where his sister husband used to live. And he used to do tradings of buying animals and selling for the king. And he had got so much gold coins in possession as well. But he stayed in there, and then Sanatana Goswami didn't wanted any help from him. But he said, okay, at last insisted and said, okay, you take this blanket, like a nice blanket. And Sanatana Goswami took that. And when Sanatana Goswami finally reached Banarasi, and he heard that, oh, Mahaprabhu is here. Mahaprabhu is personally present here, and became so happy. And Mahaprabhu, because Sanatana Goswami used to work for a Nawab. What was the Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami name? Sorry, Hussain. And then he used to, like, for walking for the Nawab, they used to speak Farsi. They used to like have their beard, say Muslims, and like became a completely Muslim moment. And then Mahaprabhu instantly said, some Vaishnava is in front of your door to his associate. Go and get him. And that Mahaprabhu associate, I forgot his name. Sorry, I'm very, very bad with the names. I don't remember names, like place name, person's name at all. Only few I remember. So he said, he went outside and saw no one. And he said, like, there is no one, no Vaishnava outside, just a Mohammedan guy who doesn't look good. Because Sanatana Goswami, he was like, walking after so long times without eating, without properly like taking baths, and his body was like dirty, his clothes were torn. There's like Mohammedan guy in here. And Mahaprabhu said, like, bring him. And then he said, like, Mahaprabhu, the master of the universe, he wants to see you, come inside to Sanatana Goswami. And then Sanatana Goswami became very happy, and then Mahaprabhu gave instruction to his associates, like, who were in Varanasi, like, save his head. He shaved his head and then cut his beard and all this kind of thing, and let him take bath and give him clothes. And Sanatana Goswami had so much detached that when they were offering new clothes to him, he didn't accept it. He said, like, I can't take these new clothes. He was that much detached. Forget about the gold coins, even the new clothes. Prabhu, this chadar has like a hole. I'll buy a new one. This dhoti is like 5 years old now. He's like, new dhoti is like there, new chadar, new kurta is there. He's like, no, I don't want this. And finally they insisted, like, you are Mahaprabhu has told us to look after you. So, and he said, like, okay, give me your old dhoti. Sanatana Goswami, like, was that much detached. And finally after that he stayed in there. And then after that Mahaprabhu personally instructed him with that all the science of Krishna. Like, it's a very long instructions, like knowledge Mahaprabhu gave it to Sanatana Goswami, that how Krishna expand himself at Lord Balram, and how Lord Balram is Sankarsana Parivrtta, and then quadruple expansion from there, Narayana, second quadruple expansion, Mahavishnu, and from there like quadruple expansion, Garudaksha Vishnu, Chirudaksha Vishnu, what is their position, what do they do, how they are, like everything. How Sankarsana is in his in material elements, he is like a Sesa and Ananta. He's like so all those things he described everything to Rupa Goswami, and he said, like, further describe the Krishna, like he said, Lord advance in this universe in 4 different yugas in 4 different color. So that's a white color, a red color, black color, and yellow color. And he said in Satya Yuga, Mahaprabhu is giving this, like, all this knowledge to Sanatana Goswami. Like in Satya Yuga, he advent as a white, in a white form in Satya Yuga, with his 4 hands, wearing, like, having Kamandal and all this kind of thing. And then he gave darshan to Kardama Muni in that form. And then Mahaprabhu's instructions Sanatana Goswami in a Treta Yuga, he advent as in a form of reddish color. And in Dwapar Yuga, Krishna himself, because Satya Yuga was a age of austerity, tapasya. Here you can see Pṛthu Mahārāja is also doing like lots of austerity, tapasya. And then Treta Yuga was a time of sacrifice. Dwapar Yuga was a time of worshipping personal form worshipping obviously the lotus feet of Krishna. And Krishna was personally present in Dwapar Yuga. His Vigraha form as well, deity worship. And Kali Yuga is a time of congregational chanting. And Mahaprabhu said like in Kali Yuga, Lord advanced in a Eloise form and all this kind of thing. And then he is like, and Sanatan, and then he even quoted the, like in Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami even quoted the form of the Krishna Varnam Tisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parsadam Yagya Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hisu Medasasin. In Kali Yuga, the people will like perform a congregational chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra to worship the personality of Godhead Krishna. Although he is like not, doesn't look like a bodily complex blackish, but he is Krishna himself, sorry, Krishna Chaitanya. And then Sanatana Goswami was a very clever person. He started like asking this and that, and he started tricking like, Mahaprabhu like, oh, is that golden incarnation? He is like a Patita Pavana. He delivers the fallen conditioned soul. He openly gives Harinam to everyone. He performs congregational chanting with his associates, and perform his pastime. Although he's, and first of all, Sanatana Goswami asked like, how do you know he's incarnation of God? And Mahaprabhu said like, oh, whoever say I am a God is not a God. A God never say I am a God. Mahaprabhu said like that. And he saw all the Shastra reference, Ved Vyasa has given, Mahaprabhu started quoting and said like, and Sanatana Goswami started tricking like, oh, that Eloise, incarnation, he doesn't say I am a God, he simply performs the congregational chanting. He is so merciful, the Karuna Avataram. He is the most merciful of all incarnation, merciful for the fallen conditioned soul, that he gives Harinam freely, Krishna Prem freely. He started like, indirectly referencing Mahaprabhu that is that person you? Is that person you? Like that. And Mahaprabhu was like, he said like, oh Sanatan, stop playing your tricks with me. And Mahaprabhu said, you want to hear further about Krishna? Now hear from me. So Mahaprabhu didn't further went to that topic of yellow incarnation, because Sanatana Goswami was going to catch him like, okay, that's you. So like, that's how the pastime of Sanatana Goswami. So we can see like material possession also doesn't give us happiness. And like other congregational chanting, so we have our Nama Acharya, Haridas Thakur. He used to chant like 300,000 names every single day. So one day, how much time we have? So I'll just quickly. So Haridas Thakur was like, chanting holy name. He was so much detached. He was born in a Mohammedan family, but still he was, Mahaprabhu himself named him Nama Acharya. He used to chant the holy name so much, so perfect, in a perfect condition that he simply wouldn't even eat that if prasadam is given to him without finishing rounds. And one day, Mahaprabhu did is all like the congregational, like the dancing, ecstatic dancing and pastime, all those kind of thing. And Jagannath Puri and the devotees, one of the associates of Mahaprabhu became ecstatic. He took the Jagannath Prasad and went to give it to Haridas Thakur, where Haridas Thakur was chanting his rounds, but he was chanting his rounds a little bit slow and then a little bit in a small flattering voice. And then he gave it to Prasad to Haridas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur say, I haven't finished my rounds, how can I take the Prasad? This is the Mahaprasad of Jagannath, I think I should take it. So that day particularly, Haridas Thakur took the Prasad, Mahaprasad, without even finishing his rounds. And that associates of Mahaprabhu informed him, Mahaprabhu, that Haridas Thakur saw this incident. He informed the incident to Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu personally went in to meet Haridas Thakur. And Haridas Thakur said, oh Lord, I have a feeling that now I think you are going to wrap up your pastime in this material world. So I think you are soon going to finish your pastime. So I don't want to see that day that you leave this world, and I won't be able to bear that separation from you, O Gaura Hari. So please give me your permission, that with your permission, I can leave this body before you. And Mahaprabhu was like, what are you talking about? You are like, I am a servant of you. You are like, I'm very fortunate to have an associate of a Vaishnava like you. And Haridas Thakur was like, there are so many associates in your servants you have in your service. And Haridas Thakur himself is saying that, what happened? There won't be any difference if an insect like me dies. So Haridas Thakur considered himself like an insect, being so exalted position. He didn't say like, I'm a Namacharya, I chant 300,000 rounds every day. How many rounds do you chant? Mahaprabhu is giving a Namacharya. I'm a merciful, so much merciful. Like, he's not bragging anything about that. He's like, I'm the insect, Mahaprabhu. What happened if this insect dies? Nothing happened, because you have got so many associates who will preach the glories. And they were like having a talk like that, and then Mahaprabhu had to perform his like a noon duty, like noon some in his midday, and Mahaprabhu has to perform his like some his own things. And then Mahaprabhu said, I'll come back to you, but we're not finishing this conversation yet, so I'll come back to you. And then I'll come back to you. But Mahaprabhu went to sea and then took a bath in there, and then he did all his daily routine and then everything, his sadhana and everything, like chanting his name and everything, like offering obeisance to Lord Jagannath. And next day, Mahaprabhu again went back to meet Haridas Thakur, with his all devotees, with associates, and all they performed, circumambulated Haridas Thakur, performed, chanted for Haridas Thakur, and Mahaprabhu personally sang the glories of Haridas Thakur, and devotees started becoming so much ecstatic hearing the glories of Haridas Thakur, because Haridas Thakur is our Brahma. So there is like a whole set of story of how Haridas Thakur became a Brahma as well. So I'm not going to touch to that one. And all this thing, and Haridas Thakur like offered obeisance to Mahaprabhu. He's like, please, he took the dust of the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas within his heart. He kept the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu, and chanting the name of Gaura Hari, Haridas Thakur left his body in front of Mahaprabhu. In his heart, like chanting the name of Gaura Hari in his mouth, he was chanting Mahaprabhu's name when Haridas Thakur was leaving his body. And Mahaprabhu personally let him touch him, Haridas Thakur, when he was leaving his body. So that's the position of devotee. What's the need of all this material position? If you simply, what's recommended in the Shastra in the age of Kali? Harera Nama, Harera Nama, Harera Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatirannata. There is no other way in this age of Kali Yuga. Only the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Haridas Thakur was chanting the Mahamantra so and so, like so much ecstatic and so much in a pure form, that Krishna himself allowed him to touch him when he was leaving his body. He left his body with the permission of Krishna, and Mahaprabhu personally carried the body of Haridas Thakur in his hands, and he started dancing with ecstasy. And he personally took Haridas Thakur to the sea, carrying him, buried him there. And Mahaprabhu declared, from the day on, he sang the glories of Haridas Thakur and said, from the days on, this place is where Haridas Thakur body, we have bath. This place is the site of pilgrimage. And all the devotees, they took bath in that place, and then they took water, they drank water from the water which touched the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur. And Mahaprabhu, they dug a hole in the sand, and Mahaprabhu himself buried Haridas Thakur. And Mahaprabhu took a bath, and Mahaprabhu himself went to beg in front of Jagannath, in a shop, Jagannath Prasad. And then all the devotees, all the people are so ecstatic that they started bringing, they started bringing the things to them. And Swarup Damodar said, no, you go back. You go back. And then they were bringing so much thing, but Swarup Damodar Das and other three associates of Mahaprabhu went for begging. And then they also went for begging, and they said, give me one ample of everything, because they have brought so many things, So they said, give me just little bit of everything, and they collected it. And Mahaprabhu personally, was serving the Vaishnavas with his hands. And in that particular section in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, Mahaprabhu was never satisfied with a devotee eating prasad. He said, with his one particular hand, if he grabbed one time, it was enough to feed 5 people, because he had big hands, ajanu lambita bhujau, because his hands is very long, that his hands reach his knees. Ajanu lambita bhujau. So his hands are so long, that so big that he personally, if he's grabbed 5 people, he was personally serving the devotees. But the devotees didn't want to take prasad until the Lord has taken himself. So and then Swarup Damodar Das said, okay, we'll serve, you sit down and eat. And Mahaprabhu took the prasad, and all the devotees offered obeisances, and they left from there. And Mahaprabhu also was ecstatic, Haridas Thakur left his body. All were singing the glories of Haridas Thakur, they were chanting the holy name. That's a glorious death. That's the glorious death. That's the death one should have. When Prabhupada was leaving his body, he was translating his books. That's the glorious death. You're not going to die. You're not going to die in a bed of money, on a bed made of gold. That will not take you back to Godhead. Pṛthu Mahārāja personally had that much opulence. He personally gave it up. The devotees of Krishna are like that. They don't want for liberation, they don't want for opulence like materialistic, they don't want knowledge like a Gyanis. They only simply want to serve devotees. And Prabhupada has made us so easier for us. Just chant the holy name of the Lord. Simply. The most important thing to awaken Krishna Prem is to serve Srila Prabhupada. Selfless service. We should not be selfish with our service. In particular, when Prabhupada was, in one lecture he says, when he was narrating the story of Bilva Mangal Thakur, Prabhupada says, a devotee never go to temple and to offer obeisance to Krishna expecting something in return from Krishna. A pure devotee of Krishna never does that. Oh, Krishna, okay, I come to see you. Okay, I'm bringing up one full basket of fruits. Give me something, okay, you back. I need that much money. Because simply when I was in, back in when I was like in a car, what I used to do, like, I used to go to temple and like, oh God, please this and that. I will, and I used to, in Nepal we call it like a bhakal. What do you call like that in English? You make a vow like, okay, God, okay, please God, I want this much, and if that happens in next year, I'll bring this much food for you, or I'll bring 4 laddus, I'll bring this much basket of fruits, I'll come and visit you. We are bribing God. I used to do like that. We are signing a contract with that. But pure devotee of Krishna never does that. Haridas Thakur never like did that. So personally said, oh Mahaprabhu, I'm gonna chant 300,000 round, and Mahaprabhu will give me Namacharya name, and everybody in the after 5,000 after thousands of years ago, people will say Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Haridas Thakur didn't do that. He didn't chant 300,000 rounds, 300,000 name, so that people will come and glorify him in like after 500 years. That he will be glorified as Namacharya. He didn't do that. He didn't do it like, he didn't do this selfish motive. So that's the position of devotee of Krishna. Prabhupada didn't do it because people will come and say Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Prabhupada did out of his mercy. He couldn't see the pain the people had without Krishna mercies, Krishna Prem. So he distributed it. That Mahaprabhu, that was initiated by Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada simply acted as an agent to distribute all the Mahaprabhu. And in his books, like this, in the start of the class, I particularly mentioned just this one puppet, this puppet is so much so that start to end the whole Krishna consciousness is given in this puppet. If you simply follow this one particular puppet of this 4.23.11, you'll go back to Godhead. Like Pṛthu Mahārāja, he stepped on the face of death while he was ascending on the Vaikuntha plane. So that's the position of devotee. So the only thing we can do is serve our Guru, serve Srila Prabhupada. Because only by the mercy of Guru and by the mercy of Mahaprabhu, then only our devotional creeper will start growing. Because our devotional life is like a creeper. Why it's called creeper? Because it needs a support. It's not a tree that can grow by itself. But it's a creeper, it needs a support. If you see like in a creeper, there is always one stick so the creeper can roll around. So that's, Prabhupada acted as that. So in order to satisfy Prabhupada, what's the most important thing we need to do? Distribute his books, preach the name of Krishna, do Sankirtan in the street. Because this one particular, see how powerful the book of Prabhupada is. This one particular purport is enough to make a person Krishna consciousness, a pure devotee, this one particular person. Imagine this, somebody get this whole book and read the whole book. That's the power of Prabhupada's book. And simply just by distributing Prabhupada books, you like try distributing Prabhupada books like every day, at least one books, even small books. And see next 1 year, where were you and where are you now in terms of devotional service. That's a big change. You'll feel in yourself that I have come a long way in this 1 year. Because that's thing that we have done, our karmas from millions and millions of years ago. Simply distributing of Prabhupada books will feel like nullify that. That's powerful. Prabhupada books is like that. Because that's service for Krishna. That's service for Krishna because we are preaching the message of Krishna. Because karma is a very interesting thing. It's very hard to understand. And like in Krishna book I was reading, like King Narga something. Niriga. Yeah, it's like very complicated. NRGA something and the dot at the bottom like that. So Yeah, when he was like rescued by Krishna, he was a lizard, and when he was tossed by Krishna from the well, he becomes a very beautiful king. And then Krishna inquired, although Krishna knew, because like he's a super soul and everyone had, he knew how he became all this story, but he just inquired, oh, beautiful, you like a heavenly person from a heavenly planets. So how are you here? How he become lizard is a very interesting story. In his past life, he was a great king, and he used to perform so and so much charity. He used to distribute from morning. He used to wake up, took his bath, offer obeisance to God. He used to perform his duties. Start giving charity to the brahmanas, thousands and thousands of cows every single day, and like thousands of brahmanas every day. But the mistake, what happened was like, it wasn't his own fault. The cow which he gave to one brahmana by mistake came back and mixed with other cows in its shed. The king didn't knew that, and he gave that set of cow to other brahmana. And now both brahmanas start fighting that this is my cow and this is my cow. And they came back to king and said, you give me this cow. No, you have given me this cow. So both brahmana were not like wanted to let go that cow. And king said, just for that particular one cow, please give me that cow. I'll keep it with me. I'll give you like something thousands of cow for both of you in return. But the brahmanas were not ready to settle. They said, no, I want this, only this cow, not your thousands other cow, only this cow. Both brahmana were like that. And they become like dissatisfied with him. And then when he died, when he went to like the superintendent of the Yamaraj said, okay, you have to suffer for that sin, which even he did, that karma, which even he didn't do it for his intention. His intention was not to, I'll give cow to Brahmana and take it back and give it to other person. The cow came back by mistake and got mixed up with the herd. And just for that one particular purpose, he said, you have so much pious activities that you'll live in the heavenly planets for like thousands, millions and millions of years. But you have to also suffer for your karma, the bad karma, that one thing you did. So what do you want to suffer first? Is your good pious activities or your bad karma? He said, I want to suffer my bad karma first, bad impious activities first. And he became a lizard. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally came him and touched him. And he became so much ecstatic, and he offered like prayers to the Lord, all this kind of thing. So that's the position. Like if you are pure devotee, like Krishna Karnamita Bilamangal Thakur is saying, if you are like have that pure devotion to Krishna himself will come. Krishna himself was present when Haridas Thakur was leaving his body. He got a chance to touch Krishna. With the ecstatic, like chanting the name of Gaura Hari, he left his body. Mahaprabhu ki Jai. So saying this, it's already time, 9 o'clock almost. I'd like to conclude my class. Thank you for being here in the class. Thank you for your presence. If anybody has any questions, please go forward. Yes, Prabhu. It's very interesting topic because our heart is like so much polluted that we cannot instantly like remove all those things, but still we are trying. So I think for me the most important thing is try to serve a Vaishnava. You try to serve a Vaishnava properly. So in that particular, I was listening to one Rupeswar Prabhu's, he's just Rupeswar Gauradas Prabhu's lecture, and he said like he gave example of selfless service. So I myself can relate to that. He says when eating, people will see if prasadam is getting like about to finish, they will not think about who haven't eaten other people. They will say like, I have to save for myself in my box so that I can eat it on my lunch as well. This very yummy prasad. That's the one mood we get first. Even when we were having feast yesterday, I can relate that. I was like, I ate it and I started saving on my box. Didn't care about who hasn't eaten the feast, who hasn't eaten that. So that's the one thing we need to serve the Vaishnava. And with their blessing, if we can please a Vaishnava, then with their blessing, because Krishna is not bound to his words, but Krishna is bound to the words of his devotee. So just by simpling our Vaishnava with selfless, without any selfish motive, you can please the Vaishnava, and just by their mercy, all our material desires and all our that desires that become selfish. Everyone, we also have that. We can sometimes say like, oh, I should have done that service, because we see like somebody did that service, and everyone's praising that person. Oh wow, this person did a nice service, and we feel like inside, just I wanted to do that service, but that person took service like 5 seconds before from me. Otherwise, I would have gotten that praise. We always feel like that. That's us. That's our karmis. But yeah, Prabhupada has given us so many things, because we distribute books. You also try to always distribute books as far as you can, according to your schedule. So that's one of the most, I think, favorable service to crush your ego as well. Because in temple we think like I am the boss, and when you go to the street and people will start cursing you, people will start saying no to your face. You like so wherever people try to talk to them, and people's like someone will hit you. They will have lots of cases in there. Like in Prabhupada time, when like devotees used to got caught by police, and police used to ask distributing books, like they used to go, like they used to enter everywhere distribute books, like even they used to go to washroom to distribute books. They were like that. Prabhupada time was like crazy. They were like, people are crazy for book distribution. I wish I had that little bit taste. That's so when the police used to caught them, they used to say like, my name is Das, and like, how many of you are Das? Like every time we caught, they're like one less like Das. We only catch Das. Because they are the servant of Prabhupada, they are servant of Krishna. So that's the only way, Prabhu. Chant the holy name, try to serve the Vaishnava. Even if we have a selfish motive to serve the Vaishnava, just by their mercy, that our heart will start getting pure. Because even if we try to serve Vaishnava from outside, because they will, if they are happy with our service, then they will bless us like, oh, give Krishna Prem. So just by the mercy of Vaishnava, bro, that's it. Serving a Vaishnava dear is the only way you can attain that selfless service. Because equally important, like a person who do the service at the front, everybody can see it, but the person who washes dishes in the kitchen, nobody can see it. We don't see that person getting praised in a Bhagavatam class, a person who washes the dishes from morning to evening but Krishna knows, so you don't have to show anybody. Krishna knows, your spiritual master knows, your Srila Prabhupada knows. That's enough for you to go home back to Godhead. Did I answer your question, Prabhu? Any more, Prabhu? Okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.